welcome back to the channel. Welcome to our Tuesday night live broadcast where we are live every single Tuesday night on the channel and we talk about, I'm gonna say, health, fitness, self-love, like really being on the journey to becoming your very best self, which, if truth be told, is the very best journey to be on. Because if you are not your best self, then you can't be, if you're not your best self for you, you can't be your best self for anybody else. And so if you want to be a great business person, if you want to be a great wife, a great mom, a great all of those things, then it's really about becoming the best version of yourself. The version that when you look in the mirror and you see that person staring back at you, the person you can be proud of inside and outside. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good on the outside. Let me just say that. All right. So anyway, welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, and welcome back. If you've been here before and you've hit the subscribe button, I'm so glad that you're a part of our family. But I know according to the YouTube statistics that over half of our viewers that are here watching on a regular basis have not hit that subscribe button yet. So I want to invite you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button, ringing the notification bell. It doesn't cost you nothing, but it helps out the channel and it makes sure you don't miss any of the tips, tricks, strategies, recipes, any of the things that we post here on a weekly basis. So anyway, do all the things and let's go ahead. Jump in. Tonight we're going to talk about failure. Now, that can be a very scary word for a lot of people. It can be, for a lot of people, it's really a thing or a word we avoid. Most of us spend a lifetime protecting ourselves against the very thing that is inevitable. It's gonna be on the road to success. Failure is on the road to success. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts, there's no if I fail. No, failure is a part of success. And so most of the time, we view failure, we view failure as something we want to avoid. Because it hurts too much, or we make up our mind that if we fail, then we must be a failure. And what I'm here to tell you is failure, if you failed, it doesn't mean you're a failure. If you have failed, it doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. It doesn't mean you're on the wrong road. Failure simply means, hear me, failure simply means you're one step closer to succeeding. Did you hear that? Failure simply means you're one step closer to succeeding is really all failure is. And so when I adapted, whatever word you want to put on it, that philosophy, when I flipped the script and I went from thinking that me failing meant I was a failure, that me failing meant I must be on the wrong path, because if I failed, I don't know who ever told me or where I got the idea that if it was meant to be, it was going to be easy. But I used to think that, like, if it was hard or challenging, that I must not be on the right path. So if I was on the right path, it wouldn't be so hard. And my weight and my health were really hard for a very long time. Like, I'm telling you, morbidly obese, 288 pounds, tried all different kinds of diets under the sun and just could not lick this thing called weight, no matter how hard I tried. And so I just started to accept that maybe I was going to be fluffy. Maybe I was big, just big bone. My people were not little people, we're big bone people. Imagine my shock when I lost 161 pounds and I went from a size 22 all the way down to a size 2. I was like, wait, what? You mean I don't have big bones? Like, what? So anyway, tonight we're going to talk about four different keys to using failure, to use the failure that you're, listen, you ain't getting out of this life without failures. You're just not. Failure is a part of success. And so if you're chasing success, and if you're trying to get to your best version of yourself, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get healthy, if you're trying to beat a lifetime of weight loss failure like I did, I was a weight loss failure 7 years ago. I had tried for a decade to lose weight. And even when I did lose a little bit, I always went and found it again. And so tonight we're going to talk about 4 different keys to use, how to use failure to propel you to success. And I will tell you, you can use this in any area of your life. Tonight, we're going to specifically talk about weight loss, but success principles are success principles. And so if you use the same principles to succeed in weight loss as you do in marriage, as you do in business, as you do in parenting, as you do with your finances, they're all, to succeed in anything, you have to apply the success principles. So let's go ahead and jump into these 4 keys to using failure to propel you, push you to success. Number 1, the sooner you fail, the less likely you are to keep being afraid of it. What I have found is that the fear of failure, what I thought in my mind failing was going to be, oftentimes was way less painful, way less of a big deal than I ever made it out to be in my head. My fear of failure, the situations I had created in my head were far more painful than what I actually experienced. And when I failed, which again, I'm going to say, failure is a part of success. It's not a if, it's a when. If you're on your road to succeed in anything, you're going to encounter failure many times along the way. But when you fail and you realize, okay, that wasn't as bad as maybe I thought it was going to be. And my friends and my family, my husband, my wife, my kids, they're still here. They didn't leave me. They still love me. Okay. Like you start to actually think, okay, this wasn't so bad. Like this wasn't as bad as maybe I thought it was going to be. Sure, it hurts a little bit. Sure, it can bruise your ego just a little bit. Sure, sometimes it's a big old fat humble pill that we got to swallow, that we failed and we didn't maybe do as well as we thought we were going to do. But when you realize, okay, I just failed, that means I'm closer today than I was yesterday to my goal. Then what happens is you start to view failure completely differently. You start to view failure as every time you fail, you're one step closer. Imagine here's success and here's where you are. And between you and success is a bunch of tick marks, a bunch of check marks. And every time you fail, it's you're climbing the ladder one step closer to your goal, to success. And when you start viewing it like that, it actually starts to get exciting. It actually starts to get like, you get a little jolt of like energy. You get a little bit like, oh, okay, let's go again. And you're completely flipping the table instead of letting it control you, instead of letting it make you fearful, instead of allowing the fear of failure to keep you stuck on the sidelines. You're actually using it as a motivator to push you to go for the things that you don't really want to go for. And you will always learn more through trying and failing than sitting on the sidelines trying to come up with the perfect plan so that you don't fail. Trying to avoid failure typically ends up with the biggest epic failures, and you've wasted a crap ton of time doing it. And I've done it. Like I can remember sitting on the sidelines, like trying to come up with the most perfect, thought out, well laid out plan to avoid failure at all costs. And it never works because it's not until the plan that I come up with before I start on the plan is never whenever I get on, you don't know what you're going to encounter on the road to success until you get on the road. And so whatever plan you came up with on the sidelines is never going to be accurate anyway. So save yourself the trouble. Save yourself the stress, save yourself the heartache, save yourself the anxiety of fearing what you don't even know is going to happen. And start understanding, reminding yourself that your failing doesn't make you a failure. It actually makes you pretty freaking awesome. And it makes you a rock star because behind every failure is somebody going for their goal. It's somebody going for their dreams. It's somebody refusing to stay the same, refusing to bow down to the fear of failure and say, get out of my way, here I come. And every failure means I'm one step closer to success, period, end of story. Number 2, failure shows us how bad we want something. See, let's just say, it's a Friday night, it's a date night, and my husband's talking trash, and he wants to challenge me to a game of Connect 4. Now, he very rarely beats me at Connect 4, but let's just say he beats me. Let's just say it's an odd night, and I'm off my game, and he just demolishes me at Connect 4. Yeah, my ego might be a little bruised, but I'm going to get over it and move along. And the next week, I'm certainly not going to be thinking about Connect 4. I'm certainly not going to be, oh, Carmen, you're such a loser. You lost at Connect 4. We might talk trash a little bit and then we'll move along and I'll get over it. But when we really want something really bad, it stings a little more. When we fail, it doesn't just go away. And I want to specifically talk about weight loss, because how often have you failed at weight loss? Think about it. Think about all the diets. Think about all the shakes, all the workouts, all the detoxes, all the things that you have tried over the past decade. I know for me, if you rewind 7 years ago and then you look at the 10 years previous to that, I can't even count how many things I tried. There was so many. And no matter how many times I failed, that thing inside of me, sure, I might get burnt out for a hot second. Sure, I might be like, that's it. I'm done. I'm just meant to be fluffy. But that only lasts for a little bit of time. And then all of a sudden, what keeps coming back up? I wish I could shop in regular stores. Man, if I could just lose this weight and have some more energy. All the desire is still there. All the desire to transform my body, to transform my health is still there. And so if you've been struggling with this weight thing for a minute and you have a string of failures behind you, like you've tried to lose weight and you've failed a lot, or maybe you've lost weight and you've gained it back and this thing inside of you won't go away, newsflash, it's not going to. It's there. It is like in you. It's not going away until you do something about it. All of us are wired to be our very best selves. We are not put here to be mediocre. We are not put here to be less than. We're not put here to go to the graveyard with dreams unfinished. That's why this thing inside of you, that's why you know when you're not doing your best. And that's why when you know you're not doing your best, there's still the desire in you to do your best. And you better hope it never goes away. I feel sorry for the person sitting there that has no drive to ever do anything better with their life. The person that has accepted mediocrity as the way of life. I pray for those people and I pray that I never become one. So if you failed a lot at weight loss and you have maybe convinced yourself that you're big boned or maybe you just can't do it, but there's that thing inside of you that still knows there's more to life than what you're living, I applaud you. I commend you. I freaking stand and wave my flag for you. Why? Because it means you haven't given up on yourself. And it means that you still know there's more to life than what you're currently living. So let's just stop torturing yourself and get there already. And so when you fail, it shows us how bad we want something. Before I succeeded, I failed a lot at weight loss. I wasn't a quick success. It wasn't like the first diet I tried. I was like, woo, I transformed my life, baby. That's so easy. No, no. There was tears. There was sweat. There was grit. There was, oh, goodness sakes, there was some cussing. There was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of things. But every time I failed and that thing rose back up inside of me, every time I quit, a month, 2 months, 3 months later, there'd be something inside of me itching to do something else again, to try another diet, to try this, to try that, to do whatever it was that hopefully was going to work for me. So failure shows us how bad we want it. And it's an indicator that that thing inside of us that wants it ain't going away until we get it. Number 3, failure makes you stronger. Failure makes you stronger. It does. Listen, every time you fail, every time you don't succeed, you've learned. You've learned from your experiences. You've learned from what you did right. You've learned from what you did wrong. And we always grow more from failing than we ever do from succeeding. We always get stronger through failure than through success. Because when you succeed, what did you learn? You learned that whatever you did worked. That's it. We learn so much more from failing than we'll ever learn from succeeding. You know, my son, he, last fall, we put him into martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And when he started, his teacher is a 9th degree black belt. And he won't work with anybody who's under 8 years old because their comprehension level and just the way they compute things in their head, he's just like, nope, I'm not babysitting. Like this is, fighting. And so in his Brazilian accent. And so he met my son, and he allowed my son to start 1 month before he turned, a month and a half, 2 months before he turned 8. Well, he went into the dojo. He was the youngest one. He was the smallest one. He was the only one there at the time that had no experience. All the other kids had been training for 2 to 4 years. And so he's going in as the smallest, the youngest, the weakest, and the least amount of experience. And what I told him is he is in the very best position possible to learn. It's the kid that's the best at that dojo who's actually increasing, getting better at the slowest pace. I explained to my son that you're getting better faster than anybody else. Why? Because every time you step into that dojo, every time you step on the mat with those kids they're more experienced than you, better than you, bigger than you, they're requiring you to raise your game. You're learning more at a faster rate than they are. And so, son, my prayer for you is that as long as you desire to do this, that there would always be somebody that is setting the pace. And sometimes when we get to the top, we have to learn how to do that. That's a whole nother skill set. That's why a lot of people get to the top and then they're like, they get distracted, they go make a lot of money. And then, anyway, it's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. My point is, he learns more. In that class, he gets submitted all the time. He gets taken down all the time. He gets choked out all the time. He gets armbarred all the time. But he's learning through his failure. He is learning at such a rapid rate. So much so that a couple weeks ago we came home and my husband, he was saying how he sparred with the Master Miguel and he got him in an arm bar. And my husband was like, no way you did that. And Aiden's like, yeah, Dad, I'll show you. I'm in the kitchen and all of a sudden I hear my husband, I tapped. My son has him in an armbar. My husband can't get out of it. And he's like tapping at this 8-year-old, getting him into armbar. And I'm just like, yes, this is right here. Why? Because he has failed and failed and failed. So that's why he has progressed so fast. He has learned so much. In his very first competition, he got a gold medal, beating a kid with more experience than him. Why? Because he's accelerating at a rate because he's learning through his failure. He's not being the best. And so my point in that is we learn more through failure than we ever learn through our successes. So failure makes you stronger, period. And actually, there was an article in Business Week that was recently published where they said Fortune 500 companies actually seek the people they're seeking out to work for their companies. One of the things they're looking for is they're looking for people who have failed and succeeded. They're looking for people who have failed and succeeded. Because it makes a more well-rounded person. You actually grow through failure. You don't do a lot of growing through success. You grow through failure. You gain tenacity and grit through failure. Most successful entrepreneurs declare bankruptcy before they ever reach success. Sometimes you got to go through the valley before you get to the peak. Sometimes you got to go through the darkness before you get to the light. Number 4, failure helps us perfect our plan. Failure helps us perfect our plan. So you have a plan, whether you know it or not, you have a plan. And every single time you go out and do something, whether you have it written down or not, you either have a plan you're executing or you're making a plan up on the fly of what you're going to do. And so when you get done, you can look back at what you did and go, okay, this kind of fell apart here. This kind of fell apart there. Think about a football team. We had the Super Bowl earlier this year. I guarantee that after the game was done, both the winning and the losing teams, but especially the losing team, went back and watched the tape over again to see where did we fail? Where did we mess up? How did we allow freaking Tom Brady and his team to march down the field so much and score? And how did our quarterback, who is one of the best, get stopped? Like, how did that happen? So they're going to go back and analyze. And then they're going to start making tweaks. And then they're going to start making changes. And then they're going to start creating plays around where they messed up, where they failed. And so failure helps you perfect your plan. I want you to imagine you go out today and you fail. And then you perfect your plan. You look at what you did good, you look at what you did bad, you look at what you're going to change, you look at what you're going to tweak, and then you get ready to go again. That means the person who failed yesterday is different than the person today. The person today who has failed again is now stronger, wiser, more experienced, tougher, has more grit, more tenacity than the person who failed yesterday. You are wiser, you have more experience, which means you're closer to success. Strength is created through failure. Strength is created through failure. And so failure helps us perfect our plan. It helps us know what worked and what didn't. It helps us know what we should keep doing and what we should stop doing. And so failure, if you allow it to, will propel you to success. But on the flip side of that, we can also use failure as a weapon against ourselves. And we can also use failure to keep ourselves stuck. How? How do you, and it's really one simple decision that separates the two. Using failure to keep yourself stuck or using failure to propel yourself to success. And it's simply where you choose to look. If you choose to focus on the past and look behind you, or if you choose to focus on the future and look in front of you, because you can't do both. You can't go forwards and backwards at the same time. I can't look forwards and behind me at the same time. I got to pick one. And so if you focus on the past, then you can't ever get to the future. But there's a difference. You can learn from the past and focus on the future. You can do that. But you can't look backwards, look at the past, and go forwards at the same time. So you get to pick. Are you going to be the person who's reminding yourself of all your past weight loss failures? Reminding yourself of all the times you failed? Reminding yourself of why are you even trying anyway? How does that make you feel? How does that help you get to your goal? It doesn't. So you can be the person who looks back. Or you can be the person that says, yes, I've failed in the past, but my past does not equal my future. But it has prepared me for it. Us overcoming failure inspires. You don't have inspiration without being an overcomer. You don't inspire without having failures that you've overcome. Nobody is inspired by somebody who's just like, yep, I tried on the first time and I must say that was easy. No, we get inspired through watching people overcome their crap, through watching people overcome their failures. And you were meant to be an inspiration. Just like hopefully you've been inspired here on this channel. If you watching this chick who went from 288 pounds, a size 22 to a size 2. Hopefully you've been inspired by tuning into one of our episodes of The Biggest Transformation, where we're journeying with 7 people, watching them overcome this battle. Some of them have had for decades with weight, watching them overcome, watching them take control, watching them like freaking just bust this weight off like gangbusters. They are going crazy inside of that group. They're failing, but they're learning. Just because they're failing doesn't mean they're failures. With every failure they have, they come back stronger, wiser, better, more equipped to succeed. And so, yeah, don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Run towards it. Welcome it. Look for it. When's my next failure? Let's see if I can fail today. Let's see. What's it going to bring? And know that when you do, you're not a failure. but you are one step closer to success. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, I'm going to extend a personal invitation. If you have not joined our growing community here on YouTube, I would love to have you join. It's super simple. Hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. If anything in this video has helped you, make sure to smash that like button. And we live in a society where over 70% of the world struggles with their weight. And are sitting on the sidelines afraid to fail again. And so if this has struck a chord with you, or you know anybody who has struggled with their weight, share the video. There's a share button down there. You can copy the link, post it on your social media page, send it in a message, and maybe it'll encourage somebody else who is currently struggling and feeling alone. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. We will see you on the next video. Bye.